Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another video in Coding with Thiago. Thanks for watching this video, and in today's video we are going to talk about unit testing with Jest and JavaScript, right? So we are going to getting started with this topic, and in the next videos we are going to cover other topics like configuring Jest more specifically in detail, adding TypeScript, creating integration tests, and so on. But in this video we are going to just focus on unit testing, right? So right now I have here just an empty folder, right? So what we have to do here, basically I will init a new npm project, right? So basically what I have to do is yarn init, or you can use the same syntax but with npm. In this case I'm going to use yarn, but there is no difference at all. So yarn init-y. This is basically going to initialize the package JSON with yes for all the questions, right? So by doing this, you can see that we have the package JSON now created. So basically, it created a package JSON with name, version, main file, and license, right? We don't have to change nothing here, as our focus is on Jest, right? So basically, now what we have to do, now we have to create our code for testing. Perfect. So basically what we need to do, let me close this and close the terminal. Basically I will come here and create another file. I will create inside source and calculator.js, right? I'm creating with JavaScript because I don't want to use TypeScript right now because it involves a lot of configuration for running TypeScript, and for beginners the idea is to put the hands on just to get used to, right? So in this case we are just going to use JavaScript. So basically what we need to do, I'm going to create a class here, class calculator, right? And I will be exporting this module.exports calculator, right? Okay, so I have the class calculator, and as you can imagine, I will be adding a few code here, and no, it isn't this code here that Copilot is suggesting me. I will create a static add A and B, right? So I will do a few checks here. If type of A for it's different from number, yeah, this checking here. What this means, basically if I pass any value for this function which is not a number, it will throw an error for me, right? Throw new error, invalid type. Perfect. And if it's a number, we just return A plus B. Perfect. So we have this code right here, and of course we are doing this because we are not using TypeScript. If we start using TypeScript, we would be doing something like this, number, and this code right here would be invalid, right? Because we don't have to test the types because we are already typing. But in this case, just adding a few types here. Perfect. Okay, and also I'm doing this because I want to show you guys a few things about coverage, code coverage, to see what we are covering with our tests and what we are not. All right, perfect. So right now we already have our calculator file. So what we need to do right now, we need to install the dependencies for running Jest, right? So I'm going to add here yarn add as a development dependency Jest. Okay, let me just add this. If you guys are running with npm, let me just show you how you can do. Basically npm install -- save -dev Jest, because it will be saving the Jest dependency as a development dependency, and it will not be compiled to the final bundle of the application, right? So with this in mind, okay, we already installed the dependency, as you can see here, right? And I will create a few scripts here so we can have things running as we want. Perfect. So as GitHub Copilot is suggesting me here, I will create the test, which is just Jest, right? I don't need to to do anything here because I am creating an npm script, right? And yarn script, the same thing. So anything I'm mentioning here, npm or yarn will know that it should be accessing the node modules folder. So it's basically that doing this node modules dash slash bin slash jest, right? It's the same thing as this, but yarn and npm they have this this smartness, if I can say this, for doing this, right? I'm going to create this command, and for now it's okay. So if we run here yarn test in our terminal, you can see that it will run jest, but it will throw an error for us because we don't have any test yet, right? So let's create another test, our first test case here, and calculator dot not spec dot test dot js. We are creating a new file, giving the name of the test suite, right? And we are adding a new suffix .test.js, which means that this is a test file. So Jest will be identifying this file because of the suffix, right? There are many strategies for creating files. We can create a new folder with underscore underscore test underscore underscore. We can create separated from the production file. There are too many options, right? But in this case, I will create side by side with the production file. Perfect. All right. So in this case, let's just create first a dump test just to see if everything is running okay. Describe calculator. I am going to create a function here. Test. Whoops. Test. Simple test. And expect true to be truthy. Okay, if I run this right now, let's see. Okay, it's passing, right? So what I'm doing here, first of all, I'm describing the context of my text, of my tests, right? So I'm saying that I'm going to work on the calculator scope. So as you guys can see here, it creates a scope here. If I start doing this more times, calculator, calculator 2, calculator 3, you can see that Jest will be grouping by describes calculator 1, calculator 2, calculator 3, because with this we are grouping by contexts, right? And in this case, we are working on the context for the calculator. So we don't need to create more contexts, right? Because we are already creating the context for the calculator, and inside this context, we are going to create a new describe. So describe, now we can say sum, and we are going to create all the tests for the sum method inside this context. And talking about this right now, I created as add, and it should be sum, right? I was wrong here. All right, I'm going to move this test for inside this describe, as you guys can see. Calculator, sum, simple test. Perfect. This is what we want. Right now, what we need to do, we need to start testing our code. So we are going to create the test case title. Should sum two numbers, right? Why we start with should? Because we are saying what the test need to do, right? So should sum two numbers, because we are saying that this should happen, and this should happen successfully, right? So this is a good practice for creating your test cases. Perfect. So in this case, we need to sum two numbers. Perfect. So what we need to do, we need to get the calculator, we need to sum two numbers, and we need to save the result from the method execution, and compare with a specific value to see if we are right or not, right? So how we can do this? Const, and then we can, let me see, we can result equals calculator dot sum 1 and 2, right? But we are not importing the calculator yet, so we need to import the calculator, right? Calculator, we are const calculator, we are destructuring the calculator because we exported the calculator as this, right? We exported as an object. So to get this, we need to, for example, calculator equals required dot calculator. This is the same as doing this. Calculator, we are just extracting the calculator property from the export in the calculator file, right? So in this case, we already have the calculator instance, and we are going to sum two numbers. So basically, the result is going to the result variable, and we need to check if we are right or not. So expect to result to be, and this result should be 3, right? So we are using the to be because, sorry, let me start by the expect. The expect, we use this to validate the values. So if you need to check if something is right or not, we have this expect, and then you pass the value you want to validate, and then you validate in what you need to check. So for example, I want to check if the result is 3. So I can ask for Jest, hey, I'm expecting that result to be 3. Perfect. We are going to see another test, another case in the next text. So if I test this right now, yarn test, you can see that, okay, perfect, it's passing. Should sum two numbers. But if I do this for, we need to throw an error, yeah, because it is summing the numbers, right? So we have 1, we have 2, it should be 3, but we are expecting the results to be 4. We are wrong, so we need to get back to 3, and now we can see that it's passing, right? Okay, perfect, we have a test scenario here, but do you agree that we are not covering all scenarios here? Of course, this is an easy scenario to cover, right? So what should we do in this case? I'm going to create a new test scenario here, test.coverage, which is just coverage. Perfect. With this, you guys can see that I will be running here yarn test coverage. We are going to have the same result for the passed tests, but we are not receiving, we receive a new feedback saying, hey, the statements you are testing just this percentage. The branches, the same thing. The functions, you are testing all functions in your code, but the lines, the same percentage, right? So you are not covering the line 4. Okay, but I'm not covering this line inside this file. If I come here, line 4, calculator, line 4, we are not testing if our code is throwing this error or not. We don't know, right? Because if I come here, calculator, I will be, after the expect, I will be adding A and B. We are not going to receive this error. We are not validating this, right? Because we are not testing this case. So let's test this case. Perfect. So I can create a new test case here. Should throw an error if number A if number A is not a number, right? So I will pass A here, right? But passing 1 is the same thing because this is not a number, this is a string. Perfect. This is type cohesion in JavaScript. So let me pass 1 so we can see the result. So we expect the results to be 3, right? We will be wrong probably. Yeah. Why? Because it throws a new error invalid type. Perfect. So it is throwing the error. So what can we do here? For testing errors, we need to create a scope for them. So I'm creating here a new function, and I'm saying that when we try to sum a string with a number, it will not be a number, for example. It will throw a new error. Whoops. Invalid type, right? So we are saying that this should throw an error, right? Now we are right. Why? Because passing this value, it will cause an error, right? So we are asserting that our code, it's validating this. So as you guys can see, if I change here to 1 again, now our test is going to fail because it is not throwing the error, right? But as you guys can see, we are having 100% of coverage right now because we are testing all the lines, but we are not testing one specific scenario. We are not testing when the b is different from a number, right? Because right now I can call here, for example, 2, and probably it will be okay. No, it isn't because it threw the error, of course, but it's because I'm throwing an error here, right? So a good one is we force this this error, right? So let's pass this again. So of course, this is a scenario where we are just studying, but probably in a real world scenario, you are not going to do this because you will be already using TypeScript and other tools to help you avoid this case, right? So if number b is not a number, so I can pass here, and now I can pass a string. So it will be throwing an error. And perfect, we are testing our cases scenarios here, right? So basically that's it. And in another video, probably, I don't know if this is the next video or not, but we are going to talk about the code coverage and why we should not care about the 100%, right? Of course, it's a beautiful thing to see the 100% here being tested and everything being tested, but this could be a problem in our system too, right? So we are going to talk about this in the next videos, but for this video, that's it, right? We are creating a simple test here for a sum method, and we are creating a few test cases, happy path, because we are testing the happy path scenario, and we are testing the bad path scenarios, right? So we are covering a lot of things here. In the next videos, as I said before, we are going to talk about the coverage percentage, we are going to talk about TypeScript, we are going to talk about creating the configuration for Jest, right? To be more specific with the properties that we have, because as you guys can see here, we don't have a Jest file configuration, but we could have, right? So right now, that's it for this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys next video, right? Bye.